Hey guys, this video is about how you can filter for ICP for a very large lead list. So if you're reaching out to people consistently, if you have thousands and thousands of people in a lead list that you're reaching out to, and you're not 100% sure on if you're reaching out to the right people or not, what this automation does is it sends each lead through OpenAI and then updates it back into the sheet. So the final people that you are contacting, you are 100% sure that they are a 10 on 10 ICP fit. Now, the alternatives to these approaches would be using platforms like Clay or Persona AI, but the costs can rise up if you are dealing with larger lists like 5,000, 10,000, and things like that. So in this video, I'm going to take you step by step on how to set up this automation that can save you at least 8 to 10 hours per week in list research, in list ICP filtering, so that you are confident you're reaching out to the right people. So step one in any edit and automation is to prepare your data. And oftentimes we would use Google Sheets so that we can collect data from there. But the problem with that is Google Sheets keeps crashing sometimes, because if you keep running read operations and write operations to Google Sheet, you run into API limits. So very recently, N8N dropped a new feature called data tables. And with a data table, you can upload your entire lead list right here into N8N so that you won't face any issues with Google Sheets crashing, which can be extremely problematic if you are in a time crunch and you need to clean a large list fast. So what we're going to be doing in this is we're going to be creating a data table with all of our content like this. So here's the process of creating the data table first. You would come here to N8N data tables over here. If you're not on the latest version of N8N, you may not see this. So please take a moment to go into your settings and upgrade to the latest version. In the create workflow area, come and click this drop down here and click create data table. Once the data table is created, let's give it a name, N8N test ICP. What you need to do is you need to add your columns. This is a beta feature for N8N, and I'm sure later they'll remove this annoying part where we actually have to sit and make our own columns. So I'm just going to make the columns for this right now. So we've gone ahead and created the data table over here. And how you do that is you click add column over here, type the name of the column that you want, press add column, and it gets added over here. So the main specific columns I've added here are first name, last name, email, company website, company description, ICP. This is where we would be getting data on if it's an ICP fit or not, and ICP status. And I'll put a pause on why I have made this table right now, because once I make the automation, you'll have a clearer idea about why I have added an extra column called ICP status. But now the data table prep is done, and what we're going to do is we're going to transfer our Google Sheets content into this. So let's get into that. The next step is going to be writing the Google Sheets data into our N8N table. And how we do that is we use the get rows node of Google Sheets. And once we open it, we can configure it to choose which sheet we want. So I will choose this one, and I will choose the sheet that is going to pull it from, and then I'm going to hit execute step so that it collects all of the rows that were there in that sheet, right? And as you can see over here, we have 61 pages, so it's collected all 606 columns, rows. Next, we have this thing called upsert rows, which is if you come here and you type in table, you will find the data table tool here. And this data table tool, you can choose the operation over here as upsert, which is updating or inserting rows. Now, how do you configure this is you choose the list. When I say the list, you choose which N8N table you built. So as you saw initially in our video, we built and saved an N8N table as N8N ICP test. And what we do, as soon as we choose that, we see all the columns over here, which is first name, last name, email, company website, company description, ICP. Now, for us to write the information from here to here all we need to do is drag these columns, drag the specific columns to where we want a match to happen in our N8 data table. So I've got my work email here. If I want the website, I think the website is there here. No, there is no website here. So let's leave that column. Okay. Um, so company description, no company description. Let's go with just company name. That actually will be more than enough. It'll be interesting to show you guys just with the company name how we can do like a lot of research. All right. So ICP status, company description, I'm leaving it blank considering that you guys will not have this information. All you're going to have is first name, last name, maybe a LinkedIn profile, maybe an email and a company name. And based on this itself, we are going to do our ICP filtering. So now that this is done, we hit execute step and all this. Okay, at least one condition is required. Okay, great. Good, we ran into this. So you see this part here, must match any condition. All you need to do is click on it. And what it is saying is both these things have to have one matching column. So I know where to write it. So if there is a company name column here with all the company names, it has to be here as well. And we need to match it so that everything gets written. And it's pretty easy. So we just will choose company. Where have I written the company name into? On the company website, I've written the company name. So company website, and then let's add the company name over here. So this value equals to this value, and we execute it. And all our data has been written to this N8N table. So we fetched the first name, the last name, the email, the company website under which we actually have our company name. This is not the best practice, but just to give you an idea about even if your data is a little faulty, it's okay. And let's look at the real table also. Now, here is the table we made that now is populated with all of the information. Now, our goal is to fill out this area, which is ICP status, good fit, bad fit, ICP status. So ICP and ICP status. So this, as soon as one row is completed, this is marked as done. Why? Because we will only feed 20 rows at a time into the AI automation. And when it comes back to read it, it needs to know where to start from. And we will be putting in a condition that if this column says it's done, move on to the next column so it doesn't keep repeating the automations again. And we're going to build that out right now. So now we're going to build the actual automation so that all the rows from that column gets passed into Perplexity. Perplexity does the company research, passes it to OpenAI just to structure out the output, and then writes it back into our table that we have over there. And let's build this out right now. So click the plus icon, type in data table, go to get rows, choose which sheet, which is N8 and ICP. All right, execute. Again, we have a condition issue, so let's fix that. No, we have actually a manual trigger issue, so we need to get a manual trigger up over there. It's one mixed up. All right, so we've chosen our sheet. We're going to get the rows right now. So let's execute the step, and we've gotten all our rows here. We fetched all our rows here. Now the next step is to add an if condition. If condition helps us read a list, look at different elements and decide whether we want to pass it back on into the automation or not. Now, like I said earlier, we've created an extra column called ICP status to see whether this is done or it still needs to be done. So the if condition is if ICP status is empty, pass it on to the next part. So our entire table, the ICP status is still empty. So the if output has taken it over here. Now, the next thing we need to do is we can't send all 606 items into this because into these AI nodes because you will reach a rate limit. So to deal with that, there is a node called split in batches or loop. If you click that, it only passes out certain number of items into your automation at once. So you're going to end up with an automation flow that looks like this till here, which is execute manually, get the rows. If ICP status column is empty, pass it into batches. Batch size, I would recommend keeping it at 20. That doesn't break the limits of the API limits that these AI companies have set. So 20 is the best I've seen because it keeps looping. It sends 20, then loops back, sends another 20, then loops back, sends another 20. This way we are safe. So you would want to set this as 20 ideally. So if we execute this step, it sends 20 people back into the loop branch, right? So now all we have is this, the company name, right? What we're going to do is we are going to add a perplexity node into this. Why Perplexity? Perplexity has a live web search feature which can help us determine whether this company is a good fit for us or not just based on the company name, right? So this is what Perplexity looks like inside. You can choose Sonar or Sonar Pro. Sonar Pro is the model which has all of the features and that we need. What we need to do is we would need to connect this over here, drop this, connect the loop branch over here, open it up, and we've got everything over here. Let's start with a simple prompt. So I've added a prompt over here. You are a sales researcher, and you will be given a company name. Search on Google, see if company name is hiring for SDR or sales teams. Return the research in a good format. I can pass to OpenAI. Filled with a lot of typos, all of that stuff, just to show you that you don't have to be perfect here to get the output that we want. So no current job listings or activity for SDR roles for company as evident from their online sources. Now we have raw data over here. What we then need to do is pass this raw data back into OpenAI and tell it that only if company is hiring for an SDR or sales related roles, they are a good fit for me. So this is what we are going to do in the next node. So let's add the OpenAI node into this. So we click here, OpenAI, we click here on message, a model, we come to list over here and we choose API key provided one. Small issues, but it can be fixed. So it's connected over here and we choose our OpenAI account. So account 1, I've already connected over here. And we choose 4.1 mini because it's cheap and it's smart and it just gets the task done. Wait. Yep, GPT 4.1 mini here. Simple prompt. What we're going to ask it to do is look at this piece of content and just determine, are they hiring? Are they not hiring? If they're hiring, mark ICP status as good fit. If not, forget it. So let's go ahead. So now that we've set our OpenAI node, we've set up a prompt like this, which is you are an ICP checker for a B2B company looking at research to see if company is hiring for salespeople or not. And you get this data from JSON, which is the content from the previous section. So just you would scroll over here down to the content part, or easier, just grab this and add it over here. So it gets auto populated. And then as you can see, it's fetched all of the information from Perplexity regarding this. If they're hiring for sales roles, mark them as good fit. If they're not hiring for sales roles, mark them as bad fit. Return output as JSON. Make sure you've switched on output content as JSON here, so you get the output like this. Why? Because it's comfortable for us to now transfer this ICP fit into our table. So now that we've analyzed these two companies, let's move into writing this data into our N8N table so that we can keep looping it and finish the whole list. So to do that, we will go to data table. We will again choose upsert row because we are adding a new element to our data table. So again, we come here and we choose our list, N8N ICP. We fix this condition, which is it should match some condition. So again, let's go to company website, equals company name. You may not find it over here, but if you put a drop down on this, you can go back to our first get rows column with all of the details and just add the same condition over here. That's great. And come back then to our messenger model. So this shows you all the nodes that have been listed and their outputs. And I go to ICP fit and type it over here, add it over here, and just type ICP status as done. So what this means is every time this ICP status is filled, this status gets updated to done, so that in our next loop, we won't attack this row because ICP status is done. It's done. So if we execute this, our table has been updated. ICP status, good fit, bad fit, ICP status done. And these are the first two rows. Now let's run the automation again and see how it goes. So got the row, got the items, sent it to Perplexity to research. Now it's going to send it to OpenAI and it will write it over here. So let's open this. Let's look at it. Column 3, column 4, right? They've been updated over here. So this is how you can loop a very large list and clean out the entire ICP. Just to show you guys that the table that we're working on, so that you can see whether it's updating or not. So these are the first 4 rows that we processed. And if you go to the ICP column, all of them are bad fits, and the ICP status is done, 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 and it keeps moving on to the next one from there. So like this, you can put in a large list, clean it completely, and make sure you're only talking to the right person. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any doubts, drop a comment below, and when I get time, I will respond to it or make a custom video on that so you're completely clear.